guys, welcome to the TCCW Live. We are here with a wonderful guest, Miss Nastia, and Dennis, and James. So, I am so excited. So, Miss Nastia, welcome.
Hi.
Sorry,
I'm
Selena.
sorry, is it just me? Okay.
Yeah, I also
It's
I
not
also
me. Okay.
lost you for a
Yeah,
for a
same.
second.
Okay.
Maybe it's the distance between the microphone and you.
Is this better, guys?
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, much
yeah,
better.
thank gosh.
ASMR.
Maybe
Do
I
you want
need
to do
to.
it again?
Maybe we're already live, so maybe I'll say it again. So, welcome to TCCW, guys. We are here with our special guest, Nastia. If you guys could not hear me before, you can hear me now, hopefully.
Yeah.
Going from there. So, Nastia, welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, where are you from?
I am from Russia. I usually live in Moscow, but now I am in Thailand, chilling.
Yes, absorbing the
Till
sunshine, as we
yeah,
discussed
till
a
the winter
moment.
is over.
Yes. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you to carnivore? How have you ended up in this lifestyle? Because it's definitely not one you just kind of like lackadaisically fall into. So,
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't know that I was doing a carnivore diet because I didn't know it was a thing. About 3 years ago, my husband, he was looking for a cure for his, let's say he had problems with his back. And he was very lucky to find a doctor who recommended him to go to a keto diet. But it wasn't like a keto diet. It was mainly carnivore diet, but we just didn't have the word for it. We just knew that carbs were toxic. And that's what he did. I was a vegetarian back then. I mean, I wasn't. I was not a vegetarian. I would eat fish and eggs and something like that. So
yeah.
it doesn't really fall into the categories of vegetables. But anyway, mainly plant-based. And I thought that it's like a thing. It's like good for you. And I was getting worse and worse. I was 20 kilos heavier. I had zits all over my skin everywhere. I developed rheumatoid arthritis by the age I was 25, and it's not something I was born with. It's not something I got in my childhood. It's just something that I developed. And so at some point he comes home, and we were here in Thailand 3 years ago, yeah. And he said, okay, now I'm going to be eating meat only. And he just bought the steaks. It was my first steak when I was 25, because I thought that a steak is something that only rich people can afford. I didn't know that you can just buy it and cook it, and I can, adopt it as my lifestyle. And I was like, no, meat, we are omnivores. We can eat, all sorts of things, and we can get everything we need from other stupid plants and beans and all of that. And yeah, and fart all the time. I guess I thought that it's just
Basic.
You shouldn't hold it in, right? You should let it out.
Yeah, let it out.
People almost like celebrate that as that, like, oh, it's normal, it's natural. And I remember thinking, like, really, is this really that natural? Because I mean, if we were trying to hunt, we would be scaring the prey away, like whatever it was,
Yeah, spot on.
This would
Spot
put
on.
us
And
in
vegans
major danger.
want to tell us that cows are, bad for environment when they're still participating in it themselves personally. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. So my husband, back then he was my boyfriend, he would bring this meat home and said, what if I prove you that you have to eat meat? Are you gonna eat meat after that? So I'm like, of course, because I'm all about critical thinking, right? It's not my ego or something. It's just I believe it's just facts, right? That you can eat some bullshit and pretend that you don't need to eat meat or something like that. And so he did, and I remember asking him lots of questions like, "But we are apes, right? It's like if we're apes." I don't know why I'm switching to British accent when I'm doing that, but anyway, like if we're apes, then we have to eat fruits, right? Because I've seen monkeys, they like bananas, and that's what we're supposed to eat because we're apes. And I really believed that. I didn't know anything about organs and that how our
digestive system.
yeah
That
I
is
had no
so
idea.
wild. So
Yeah.
wild.
guys, look at the gorilla. Gorilla is so huge and just eats grass and shit.
Yeah, they're massive. That argument is always, I just look at it and people are like, look at the gorillas, they eat nothing but plants and they're massive. They got these muscles, and I'm like, uh-huh. And their digestive system is completely different than ours. Like it doesn't even remotely function the same way.
Yeah.
We're not going to gain the same things the way that they do through that same system of eating, because we're not biologically designed the same. We're similar. We have genetic similarities, but our physiology doesn't function the same. Can't compare them that way.
Well,
but sorry.
No.
You're the guest. Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, we haven't had any research of people eating their own poop. I mean, gorillas do that to gain protein. Maybe vegans can try something like that. I mean, maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, it will help with extra protein for sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're adding, the special microbes to the microbiome in our gut system that we're missing by not eating our own fecal matter. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, everybody in the world, for the most part, wants a participation trophy for having a date with the throne. I think that's hilarious. Hey, I'll be right back. I gotta go. Boom. I'm healthy. No, your body didn't digest anything. Everything you ate just came right out. And one of the examples that I love is look at just corn. That's extremely obvious. The corn just sits there in the bottom of the toilet.
Yeah.
I think it was Dr. Kiltz that I watched one time during one of his lives, and this was months ago, maybe almost even a year ago. And it was when I was first kind of coming around to the carnivore space in social media, and I was listening, and he was like, do you ever think of what's biologically appropriate? Because whenever you go to the bathroom, you never see pieces of meat left over in your excrement. Like, does that not tell you your body's not digesting something if you're literally passing whole pieces of it?
No, Selena, it tells us that meat stays in your colon and it just rots over there.
Right.
Look, if it was so Dennis, great
Sure, go
point.
ahead.
If it was so true that just meat rots in our guts, then all of us would be rotting humans.
Exactly.
But we aren't. Hello, I'm tapping myself. I'm holding my face. What? I'm not rotting. So clearly use observation that this is extremely false.
So true.
Yeah. You guys probably know Lee Copus canned carnivore, right? He got his colon removed and he has a bag, and he can clearly see the contents of this bag. And when he first started living like that, he was eating a lot of veggies still, or at least some veggies. And he said that I never ever in my life saw that there has been a piece of meat that hasn't been dissolved, but there were a lot of plant residue left over there. So yeah, here is a live example of how it actually works.
Yeah, when foods are Nastia, go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything, so I just said yeah. So
understood. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I was going to chime in by saying our guts are made for absorption, and that's confusing to a lot of people. The things that make it to the colon are obviously undigested, but I ideally, everything is absorbed. So meat is absorbed, which is why so many carnivores and meat eaters don't have frequent movements. It literally is absorbed by the body. Obviously, we term it the term bioavailable foods, nutrient-dense bioavailable foods. But they're fueling us instead of just passing through us. So, of course, you can eat too much fat. Okay, that will go right through you. You can consume too much salt as a mineral, and that'll go right through you in the form of obviously using excess water to flush the system. But to this ideology that food is meant to pass through the body is completely false. It's supposed to be absorbed and used as energy. That's how we function.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you look at just the process and how the entire planetary system works within Earth, right? Something is alive, something dies, something goes back in, and everything reabsorbs completely. It doesn't matter whether you look at the soil system, whether you look at the food system, whether you look at individual species of animals, whether you look at plants. It doesn't matter what eco-environment you are looking at. It's the same cycle. Something lives, something dies, everything's reabsorbed. Simple. And the reality that we're supposed to be ingesting something that we cannot fully absorb, we cannot fully digest to optimal levels is just absolutely asinine of a concept. It just really is. I'm done.
We got
Good point.
so many humans are in a food trap though of marketing. When food is marketed as healthy and whole and low calorie, like if you're told that on the branding, then you should probably run away fast. Meat and eggs and bacon and cheese don't have whole foods marketed on there at all. So I'll leave it there. Again, we're in the food trap of marketing. We have to just get into the mind space of what is what actually optimal for humans. Eating meat is never bad. We have to ask the critical questions. Nastia, you brought this up. You think critically with your husband, and he was bringing meat into the house.
Yeah.
I would love to hear more on that, but I'll just cap it by saying, like, critical thinking isn't difficult. It's just asking simple questions. Is this tortilla that says 0 carbs actually 0 carbs? I mean, can meat be 100% carbs? No. So why can a tortilla be 0? And I'm talking about mainstream tortillas, not carnivore made from Whole Foods. Like, you look at the back of that bag and it's got 0 carnivore ingredients on it. So really that's not a 0 carb food. It's just marketed as such.
Yeah.
I think they market it as zero net carbs. Like, you have to be careful about that, and you have to look at actually the total carbs, which are very usually hidden in the behind of in the content list. That's what they do for keto snacks and all of this kind of BS, which you have to be careful with if you indulge. Sorry, Selena, I cut you.
No, you guys never have to apologize. I'm here for you all, not myself, that's for sure. Sometimes I get on tangents though. I always found it interesting. So when I first started keto, it was like there wasn't this awareness because of the marketing, because of the false education around healthy foods, right? I completely fell into this whole like, oh, well, it's keto and it's got higher protein and it's got this and it's great. And look at this bar and it's delicious. Of course, because it was still hitting those dopamine spikes that were triggering like I need to eat this stuff without really knowing what it was for a while. But the marketing, I mean, I totally got bamboozled fully. I mean, like, I'm not even going to try to BS. And I consider myself a fairly intelligent person. But because of how we are are raised, and I don't think it matters like what country you're raised in. There's this marketing around, processed foods that it's like, these are good for you. They're better than everything else. They're cost effective and they're heart healthy. They're this, and it's like, it's just a load of garbage. What?
I agree. I would love to hear it, Nastia, what you.
Right? Me too. I would like to hear your.
Yeah, it's just that I even forgot. Like, you reminded me of some things that I don't even, I haven't seen them for a while because I don't go to the supermarket anymore because I usually order it in, like order some deliveries, and it's usually meat, so I just don't encounter it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't even remember how it felt. I don't even remember eating something thinking that, oh, it should be good for me when it was marketed. It was just the vegetables. Like I would buy lots of veggies and salads and all kinds of salads and lots of spinach, and I thought it's good for iron. If you don't eat red meat, then you should substitute it with spinach. It doesn't work really.
Oh,
it's not gonna get how can you get iron from something that you cannot even process?
Right. I fell into that one terribly as well. Terribly. So, so curious question. Coming from where you are and being an influencer, and specifically being a Russian influencer, how is that environment like? What is that like from where you're from? Because I know, like, my American side and stuff like that, but I'm curious as to how you go along from that side of the world.
Well, so I'm gonna go back to my story now because part of it is important. So when I started eating meat again, I felt good, and I was eating all sorts of different meats, like chicken and pork. I don't eat pork anymore because I get inflammatory response. Beef, and it was not good beef. Now I know it, but back in the day I didn't know it. And then I started losing weight. I started to feel good. Like my face changed, my body changed, like everything just changed. My mind changed. And you said, I think James said that it's not difficult to apply critical thinking. It was difficult for me. Like my brain was a mess. Like I was diagnosed with ADHD. A diagnosis I don't believe in anymore, just because, like, if I was misdiagnosed, how many other people were misdiagnosed? And it was in Russia. Like it's not very common to diagnose people with ADHD in Russia. It's not like just the mental health situation is not, it's getting better in terms of people getting more and more medicated nowadays because we're becoming more
I call it zombified.
Yeah. They call it progress, though. Yeah.
Right.
And then when I was on Instagram, I kept getting these videos of how red meat is bad for you, how you should be eating carbs, how you should be counting your calories and everything. And I was so annoyed with that, and I realized that, okay, I'm gonna be the person who tells the truth. My ego again. And
keep going. I love it.
Right.
Yeah. And then I did, and I was very aggressive with it, and I still am very aggressive because this is like the easiest way to gain attention, is to be aggressive and very strict with your beliefs. Like I am eating meat only. I don't just eat meat. I eat meat and organs and something else sometimes. In the summer, if I'm in the woods, I may eat some berries like that I find, but it's a very rare occasion, and I don't get any reaction to it, and I'm okay with that. But it's just easier to say, okay, I've been eating meat only and things like that.
Right.
And I got lots of criticism, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they just call me names. They just say, "Oh, look at her, she's so stupid," and they don't even know my story. They don't even know that if I eat like a normal person, and I'm not going to eat like a normal person. I think it's slavery food, like literally. I think that this is what like they just make you eat something that turns your brain into mash, that your sex hormones go lower. You just don't protest anymore. Like you become a slave to the system. You keep going to the doctors, you work so you work hard, you work like 9 to 5. It's 9 to 6 in Russia.
Yeah.
And then
I'm like, I haven't seen a 9 to 5 forever, but
yeah, me neither. But anyway, let's pretend that we do know what it entails. But and then like I was working for myself, self-employed, but still I could work for like 4 hours, and then the rest of the day I could only like sleep and rest, and I was on medication for my mental health, and it was hard. It's like I felt like I'm not free. I cannot choose what I don't even have the capacity to enjoy my life. Like I just have to do the basic minimum, and that's what a lot of women tell me when they come into my coaching programs. Like I just don't have, like, I do everything. And a lot of women, they like count calories, and they eat their veggies, and they do sports, and then they have families and children, and it's just impossible to just feel like a human being. So yeah, I'm not going to, I thought at the beginning, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just, I am lucky and I just started eating meat. Maybe that's what changed it. Not because I only eat meat. But now I realize, no, I am right and they are wrong. And so, yeah. Now it's been there's been a huge wave of criticism, which is good, I think, because that's how it works. At first, people are like, oh, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, and then the society slowly changes. It's veganism is not very popular in Russia among some people. Like some people are vegans, but it's like still weird. Like for Russian to know that someone is vegan, it's more like weird. It's not like when I was not eating meat, my English friends were like, oh, that's good for you. Wow, you're so healthy. I should probably give up meat too. Like back when I was studying in England, some people just said, well, I try to cut red meat because it's bad for me. And that's when I first tried to cut red meat. I felt horrible, but then I tried again and I succeeded. I don't know why I did that, but it was stupid. But yeah, there were lots of vegetarian options. Like England is huge on vegetarianism. Like it's just
US
it's
as well.
not like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Finland also.
I was.
We lost James.
Yeah, we did. I was vegan vegetarian for several years of my life.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and it was growing up, my mom was vegan for many years, then vegetarian, and so there was a lot of push for that where I grew up. I grew up in Southern California, and it was like the health movement, that was happening, and everybody, it was like if you weren't vegan, then you were, destroying the world.
Well, it has nothing to do with health, though. So which is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Health or
it was just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Nastia,
today, James.
Nastia, everything you said in the last, I don't know, 3-4 minutes is spot on. You are being direct. Get the responses from people, because the responses are showing them the mirror, as I like to say. You're showing people that everything that they believe in to be health is false and inaccurate. And you're standing in that truth while you're continuing to thrive and find health. And I really love as well, myself personally, people responding on social media or even in person and being like, I can't believe you're doing that. Or, you just wait until X, Y, and Z happens to you. Okay, well, I'll stand. I'll wait until it happens because I'm continuing to find healing and health. I love everyone saying that N equals one. Okay, just one anecdotal story. But as we all know, there are millions of anecdotes at this point. Whether you are carnivore, whether you are ketovore, there are millions of people. Selena reversing cancer, me reversing diabetes, me reversing mental health issues, depression. These are all things that
James is being shadow banned on YouTube as we speak.
As we speak.
Damn it, there fast. But yeah, I completely agree with what James said, and you guys have to also understand that we are sort of trying to propagate this idea of carnivore and how it's good for you and how it can help you in a sort of worldwide English language environment, which is mostly a lot of it comes from the US, where the sort of the topic of nutrition is ahead of the whole world. And when we are talking about, I just, Anastasia tells about her experience in Russian space. And if I imagine just going into the Russian Instagram or whatever social media and trying to, propagate these ideas, it would be akin to diving to the trash can, because people are very opinionated and they like to voice their opinions, but these opinions are very, very behind the modern discussion. I think we collectively are like what, 15, 10, 15 years behind maybe on the whole topic of nutrition. What would you say, Anastasia?
Which is good, I think. Which is good because we don't have that whole vegan scene as developed as in the US, as in Europe. Because like I know why I get such response from the audience is because that's how I that's how I make my videos. I'm very aggressive in them, and that's my intention. I get a very similar response from English-speaking audience, to be honest. So I cannot blame them. I know that it's my responsibility and my delivery. But yet I see more people, like now I see more and more people knowing about the carnivore diet. Like the other day, the other day was like a couple months ago. I went to another city, to St. Petersburg, and I met with my friends. We were hanging out, like listening to music, and I met a guy, and he said, so are you a vegetarian? I don't know why he asked me that, but he just looked at me and said, oh, are you a vegetarian? I said, quite the opposite, actually. And I said, well, I'm actually on a carnivore diet, like I eat meat. And he looked at me, and I didn't say that it's carnivore diet, but he looked at me and said, oh, it's carnivore diet. And you know that like there's a particular word for it in Russia, which makes no sense. And I never knew, like we used to call it like dieta хищника, like the diet of a hunter. And I didn't know, and I specifically chose that word. I didn't use like carnivore as a word because I didn't think that it would stick, but it stuck somehow. And people just keep calling it carnivore. Like now people just say the word, like they just know the word, they know what it means. That's crazy. I didn't know it. I didn't get the chance to know it. And so he looked at me and said, oh, my friend was on a carnivore diet. And I looked at him like, what the hell? And I realized at this point that that's my doing. Girl, good. Like, because I didn't hear anything about the carnivore diet. There was like no talk about it within the Russian space. And then I started making, that's the reason why I know I'm not very modest, but I'm going to be truthful. I started releasing, like making these videos of eating meat and, knowing that the people will instinctively watch like I just eat a steak and I just talk about things and being very annoying, like, you know,
Yeah, it
I'm a
triggers people.
huntress. Yeah, I am. Look at this piece of meat. You know deep inside that that's what you really want, right? You don't want a salad. The salad is not going to ignite anything inside you, but you are going to want to eat meat. And that's what I just kept doing. A lot of people came, they said, oh my God, I've known this my whole life. Like, I know it because it's truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the reality. No one will ever say, oh my God, that's such a tasty piece of soy something mash.
No.
No.
Never.
Because
I had
everyone knows.
never eaten tofu and thought, gosh, this is so delicious. I thought, oh, it's okay. Like, I'll survive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is so that's what it is. That's survival food. And when people are
Mhm.
trying to sell me the idea of the, you know, balanced diet, I'm just saying I'm not poor. Like, I'm not destitute, because that's
Exactly.
that's the food for destitute people who they don't have a choice. They have to survive somehow.
Mhm.
And now you're just feeding everyone like they were destitute. I'm not destitute. I can afford meat, and as long as I can afford it, I'm gonna do that. And like that makes me really angry,
Well-
because, you know, it's all not like, you know, in the 80s it was called the Kremlin diet. Like the carnivore diet in Russia was called the Kremlin diet.
Huh.
And everyone, like when I talk to my grandma and I talk to women, older women, they say, oh, we used to try the Kremlin diet.
Yeah.
Wow. It's basically carnivore diet.
Huh.
Yeah, because there was
I
a
think it's
deficit
interesting.
at some point. Yeah. Sorry.
Excuse me, Dennis.
Oh.
I do think it's interesting
No.
here in the USA. There was a diet called the Atkins diet, and that
Mhm.
was very similar to the modern carnivore diet, except the Atkins protocol included bringing carbs back in once the human found healing, which is kind of weird and backwards.
Right.
Somewhat into this marketing machine of food, but after a certain time frame, you start to bring carbs back in, and then people, boom, get the weight right back. It didn't make sense, but at the same time, it just proves, like the Kremlin diet, I don't know what that entailed, but it proves you eat high-fat animal foods, the human will optimize and find health.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's like, you know, the Kremlin is associated with the higher, well, the power. So those in power, they knew it, and that's why it was called the Kremlin diet, because it's where where the president resides and the, you know, the elite. I don't think they know it. Like, I don't think there's I don't think that every person in power knows that they should be on a carnivore diet, because from what I observe, they don't know. But it's always been most precious food. And now we are pushed to believe that the food that we have been eating, you know, I'm not going to repeat every other carnivore blogger, but this is the food, this is the very food that we should be avoiding. And I believe that. And again, I believe that it was good for me to eat more veggies, and reducing meat from my diet would make me stimulate me to eat more veggies, which makes no sense. It's not good for you. Like I didn't know anything about the toxins, the plant toxins, which are a real thing. Now I know that. Now when I eat it, I know it. Only when I have been on a carnivore diet for some time, I know which plant, you know, how it affects me. But my main reason was because it's good for the environment, and I believe that it's my responsibility to change something about the environment. No, it's not my responsibility. And actually, by going vegetarian, I'm harming. Like, I live in Russia. There's like half a year. It's winter half a year. I'm not. Where the hell am I getting these avocados from? How is that good for the environment? And they're flying and shipping all that. Like, no, that's if I want to be, if I want to be good to the environment, I should be eating meat only. meat and organs and all that kind of stuff, and maybe some plants that grow in the yard with, you know, sometimes when it's the season, maybe some apples or whatever. But I'm not gonna eat that because I feel bad.
Right, me as well. I the whole like concept of, oh, you know, I'm being vegan or vegetarian or whatever because I'm helping the environment. I always want to go, can you really just open your eyes and look at the reality of what's actually happening, what's actually going on? Because never in the state of history has any culture been completely vegan. And even the ones that they attempt to claim, when you go back, it's like the temporary moments of time that they lived a more vegan lifestyle or closer to a plant-based lifestyle was usually due because of some sort of famine, some sort of major catastrophe. They were surviving. They weren't thriving. It's like, but their entire ancestry was not eating that way. They might have only ate that way for like 50 years, 100 years. But when you look at the vastness of it, thousands of years, their culture was primarily eating meat, unless there was a catastrophic disaster of some sort. And to go,
What a
okay,
point.
right? Like we understand that we can survive, but that's not optimal thriving. That's not biologically like designed to live that way forever. But we can survive because we are a species designed to survive.
Yeah. I want to make, in my opinion, a bold claim here, but I'm sure you all may agree with this. Look, I have never met God. I have never met a religious figure. I have met my food. Food is not a religion.
No.
Food is reality. I'm using your words here, Selena. Food is a reality. There's no questioning that. So if we, and I once was there as a vegan as well, if we believe things about food, that is making food into a religion, which it is not. Our biology and our physiology aren't waiting for prayer. If we don't eat, we die. That is the foundation of human life. So we have to eat, and we have to eat optimally. And I would challenge any vegan. I've been in the space of a vegan, so you know, don't question that I don't know what it's like. Please, for those who are watching or listening. But if you are a vegan and you don't have any, I'm going to claim that there are some chronic ailments going on in your life. I have too many vegan friends. I have too many vegan people in my life to know, and family as well. I have former vegans who have now returned to eating primarily meat in my family. These are things that I have observed and witnessed and heard from first person context, that eating just plants isn't enough for us. Like you said, it's survival. So that's I'm going to end my rant here, but food is not religion at all. Food is reality.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And also, I didn't eat meat for like 3 years, something around that. And the moment I started eating it, I felt better. I didn't have any I didn't have any reaction to it. I didn't have any, you know, bad feelings in my stomach, any bloating or anything like that. I was just feeling good and felt natural. It felt like, wow, it's just amazing. It's just amazing once I let myself enjoy this, you know, this sensation. You all know it, and everyone listening to us know it. Every vegan knows it. That the sensation when you eat meat is just nothing. You cannot compare it to anything. There's no product, nothing, no vegetable that will have the same qualities for you. And there are reasons for that. But once I got rid of all the plants in my diet, I was unable to bring them back. why so? Like, if meat was so bad for me, why didn't I develop some kind of, reaction to it?
Right.
But
Such a good
once
point.
I got rid of all the plants, I cannot bring them back. I feel bad, and I feel it in my joints, and I see it on my skin. I see the way, like, my face gets swollen. I feel it in my mood, like my mood changes. Why so, if it's so good for me? And how can something be so good? Like, everyone says that, in Russia there's everyone keeps telling me about the balanced diet. Like, you should be eating everything, because if you don't eat everything, then you're going to be depriving yourself of certain nutrients. And I'm like, right, again, should I be eating dirt? Like, because I am depriving
for
myself
B12,
of
for
magnesium.
B12, yeah, you have.
Selena knows about dirt.
I know a little bit about dirt. Yeah.
Did you eat it?
It's
soil versus dirt. I love that comparison. There's
Oh,
soil, which
yeah.
is nutrient rich, and there's dirt, which is depleted of nutrients. I learned this from you, Selena. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And it affects our plants and our animals. And obviously the plants matter because the animals that we eat the plants.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So he's making that statement. In my real world life, I'm a soil microscopist, so I analyze soil for agricultural companies to find out basically what nutrient value does their microbiome have in order to produce their crops and their fields for their animals or for people or produce or whatever. So that's why he's saying that.
Wow.
And
Nastia, to your point about oh, sorry. Have a small delay.
Ahead,
Somebody wanted to say something? Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say that we recently had a video circulating in our chat about the guy making this argument, like Olympic level mental gymnastics, like he said that on carnivore you are excluding a lot of foods, and when you reintroduce them, you feel shitty. That means that you are now less resilient to other foods, and you are because of that you're weaker and you are less adaptive. When I'm thinking straight away, I'm thinking that I am when I quit, I was a smoker. I was a smoker for several years, and then I quit cigarettes, right? And then now, if I smoke a cigarette now, I'm gonna lie down on the floor, knocked out, and that. So with this logic, it means that I should have not quit cigarettes, and I should keep smoking them because I'm resilient this way.
Yeah, that's the same logic.
Damn it, Dennis. You need to up your resilience. Pack a day.
Yeah.
We got some bangers going on right now. Nastia already just vigilant. I love it. And Dennis, you coming heavy with this comment. I love it. Like some of the things people say and try to believe is laughable.
It is. It absolutely is. It is so funny. I have to say it's probably one of my favorite comparisons now, because I used to be a smoker for years too. I smoked, probably for about 4 or 5 years. And even as a smoker, I was not a heavy smoker. I pretty much smoked to be able to be around the people that I lived with because they smoked. But when I quit smoking, I don't know about you, but it smelled 10 times worse to me than it did before I ever was a smoker. The idea of smoking is almost vomitable to me. Like, it is just like, oh my gosh, so putrid. But nobody goes, oh, you should definitely get back on that because you're a weaker person now since you can't do that. I mean, it's just a freaking joke. I go, am I a weaker person? Because all of the ailments that bothered my body when I was eating a higher plant-based, healthy, or even when I was eating a, everything in balance, moderation diet, I was sick and I was lethargic, and I was barely able, like she was saying, barely able to make it through a workday and do anything else. But now that I'm only eating meat, I can do all of those things and more. Whether I have enough sleep or not, I can keep going perfectly fine.
Mhm.
I can, there's like an endless Energizer bunny that's willing to go. That wasn't the
Mhm.
case before. So is that really like less resilient if I can outwork you now? And I'm in my 40s now. So it's not even like I'm like, you know, I was worse off in my 20s than I am now in my 40s. Really? Am I really less resilient now?
Yeah. Well, so many, that's great point. Like so many carnivores and meat-based eaters feel 20, 30 years younger than they really are. And it's true for me. And one thing I want to speak to, since you both are former smokers, I just learned, is, as you
Me
know,
too.
and you can probably talk
Oh,
to it. Oh, wow. Okay. So the tobacco industry included sugar in the tobacco to
Yeah.
make it more addictive.
Yep.
They know. And now,
yeah,
as we also know, for those who aren't aware, the same tobacco companies then bought the big food companies, which funnel
yeah,
most of the food, at least here in the
Right.
US. So they are aware the impact, of sugar in everything, and it's hidden. You can't call a 0-calorie soda 0 calories just because it's marketed that way, just because it's branded that way. It's literally like saying a cigarette is 0 calories, even though it's got sugar in it. Like, I'm trying to say all these things with context. One more comment I'll make, and it's going to sound like a crazy person. I'll admit that. Okay. But
Good.
even the thing that we drink the most, the thing that is required for life, suddenly has 0 calories, which is water. Okay. This is just baffling to me. How, okay, well, you have to limit certain things, or this has a certain calorie amount. You can, are you going to say that water is equivalent to 0-calorie soda? No,
Oh,
absolutely not. Because water is 0 calories. I mean, even coffee
it's the same. What do
has
you
some
mean?
calories, and I'm not going to dive into it because it can get me going in a sense, but ultimately, like so many of us in the space of carnivore, calories aren't real. They're just a myth.
Yeah.
yeah. I should have started with that actually.
Right.
Everything is
I
0 calories because nothing contains them.
because it's mass.
Yep.
Wait,
Right.
I made a few videos about that, and the internet got really crazy. They were like, oh, "You are
Oh
denying
yeah.
the
Oh
laws of
yeah.
physics," and I'm like, "Yeah, when it comes,
Thermodynamics.
yeah, because it's yeah, but it's too hard to explain.
Mm.
There's
I-
calories in, calories out, but all
Yeah.
right, it's not all
Most
about
people
calories, though.
don't even know what calories are. Like they
I do
just,
know it.
yeah, they just have this languaging wrapped around
Hmm.
an association without actually knowing what it is. And this is something I have realized so many people do not have like a foundational awareness of nutrition. And I'm not even talking like, oh, like as a nutritionist, what you're taught, but just like how the body works with food. And to go, now you're explaining something that they have been drilled in their head about calories. I mean, I remember understanding a calorie like positive or deficit as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old. I remember hearing this languaging around calories. Like this has less calories, this has more calories. Oh, I can't eat that because that's so many points on our, Weight Watchers journey or whatever people were on. Because I was born in the 80s, so the 90s was like Weight Watcher heaven here in the US. And I mean, so that entire like section of formative years, I mean, I very was aware of, oh yeah, I gotta be careful about calories. Calories are crazy, man. They'll get you.
Yeah. Very good point.
I
I can agree. Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead. No, you go now.
Dennis, you started first. Okay, I'll
God damn
go.
it. Yeah.
I have this story in my head I'll never forget. It was a work program, health program, and everybody was in this room, and there's two people up front giving us guidance on, hey, we're gonna compete to lose the most body fat and gain the most muscle, and the winner of either gets a prize. Great. And they asked the question again. This is in a room with like my coworkers, hundreds of people. And hey, can anybody tell me how does a human lose weight? And I raised my hand so fast. I was so excited. And they're like, hey, you answer. And I said, calories in, calories out. And they were like, good job. I was so proud of myself. I cannot be more unproud of myself at this moment in time. I just sat there and regurgitated what, like you said, what I was drilled into my head as a kid.
Yeah.
And if I lost weight, which I did, I was starving myself, though. I'm making meals. When I talk about mass, I'm making meals that are this big. And for those who are listening, it's not a very big meal at all. And you go through the day hungry, and you're like, oh, well, I'm cutting calories. I'm going to lose the weight. And that's why it's not sustainable, though, because then, as we all know, we're bought in and trained to think, okay, well, once I do want to eat more calories, it's going to be the fried chicken, which is not chicken at all. It's going to be with the fries and with the soda. And then, boom, weight right back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is no matter what diet you're on, and I think I've heard Mark say this in a lot of his posts, no matter what diet you're on, you can lose weight. It's completely possible. You could be on the horrendous sugar diet. You could be on a vegan diet. You can do the whole calories in, calories out. You can count every macro possible. No matter what, it's possible to lose weight. The difference is, are you losing your health with it too?
Powerful.
Right, yeah. But I wanted to come back to your point that you brought forth before, Selena, is that we are sort of in this space, we are kind of privileged to, to know a little bit about nutrition, to discuss like whether this approach is more optimal, whether that approach maybe like is it vegan, is it carnivore, is it balanced? Like there is a discussion around it, but a lot of people, as you said, they don't even know the most basic stuff like the what are carbohydrates? Carbohydrates sounds very difficult, I hear it's for energy. Maybe I should eat it, yeah.
Right.
Protein, bodybuilders protein, maybe it's connected. It's very low level, and people are not taught like from the very young age. They're just taught the reflex of putting something in your mouth, like very instinctual. But nobody really understands like the big meaning behind it is that your whole body, all of the multiple trillions of cells in your body, they are all composed of everything that you eat. I think it's international saying that you are what you eat. We also have that. But people don't really understand that. They think it's, well, you should just eat enough and have enough energy to go through the day. But then I actually have a friend of mine here. He's also Russian, and I'm just breaking his personal borders and all the time talking about carnivore because, well, fuck him, and he'll listen. And he is a little bit being
Can't run
brainwashed
away.
by me. Yeah. I'm faster and stronger now. So, um, he, he told me he recently told me that, hey, actually, after all of our discussions, I now came to realization that actually food actually affects my health. Food can affect your skin, can affect the inflammation, can affect the hair and tooth health, and well, all of the things that come out. And I was like, well, no fucking way, Sherlock. Like, and he's a very smart guy. I'm not saying that he's like uneducated or
Right.
like dumb. It's just that it's in our culture to never ever discuss that in
Yeah.
mass.
And that's like you just said, it's not like he's an uneducated person. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I've experienced this with several people that I've met, highly intelligent people. People that, have like master's degrees or doctorates, or like, it's not that they are dumb or uneducated, but we are uneducated in a society about how our own bodies work. Why? Because if we understand how our own bodies work to the actual degree that they function biologically, we become powerful, not just physically, but mentally as well. And I'm sorry, but a society that is able to think for itself and have free thought is a society that's hard to control.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Go, Nastia.
Sorry. Yeah. There's actually something that I was going to tell you, and I wanted to share it here. That for me, carnivore is not enough. Just because I believe that it's just, in my experience, when I switched carnivore, and I felt so much better than I was before, but I still had depressive episodes. They were very short, like 4 days, which is nothing compared to like 3-4 months.
Right.
But I still felt very bad. I have always had low energy since my childhood. Like, it was my thing. Everyone was running around and I was just sitting because I don't know. There was something about my mitochondria, I guess. And then I took an organic acid test last spring, and it turned out that I got lots of deficiencies, even though I was eating the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, like, that you can even imagine. But I made a mistake. Like, I wasn't eating any liver, and that got me to like vitamin A deficiencies. I didn't like my vision got like, I got worse vision. It was hard for me to see in the evening, which was weird because all the time before that my vision was amazing, especially like the first like half a year after I switched to carnivore. So I started doing that, and I took some vitamins. I changed, like, I added some organs into my diet. Now I don't eat pork, which is very good for B1. I don't eat it. I can't eat it. So I just add it every now and again. And that changed my life completely. And even though now I don't have an idea, and I don't think that I can get everything I need from the food that I'm eating, maybe it's because of the soil. Again, maybe it's because that I'm not eating mammoths. That it's a cow, and the cow is not eating its species appropriate diet, and the gut bacteria in my gut doesn't produce enough like B vitamins, which it's supposed to do.
Right.
But in my case, like, after antibiotics and all the medications, it doesn't work as well as it should. And now I am but anyway, when I've changed that and I've added some, I took some vitamins, and that changed. Like, I suddenly had this surge of energy, and I didn't know what to do with it because I was not accustomed to it. And I started moving a lot. I started doing yoga. Sorry guys, but my boobs got bigger. I don't know why, but there's something really changed. Like,
your hormones started to actually shift into place.
Yeah.
Mine got smaller though.
Yeah. Well, hormones, right?
Good for you.
Right. Good for you.
And then when I gained some muscles, and I got, I guess it's some extra water from exercising. Anyway, so my body changed, and on Instagram everyone started calling me fat. Like, when I was heavier, which I wouldn't say I was plump, but I guess America-wise I was skinny. Sorry guys.
Wow.
But for Russia, for Russia, it was like, so I lost weight, and everyone was like, okay, you look good. And then I gained weight, which is normal, which is good, which is like muscles and fat. Fat is good. Like you're supposed to have some fat, especially if you're a woman. And lots of people started saying, "Oh, now I see that carnivore diet doesn't work because you've gained weight. Now you're fat." I'm like, seriously, like, what is going on, people? Like,
you're
why
not undernourished?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's something that is like so crazy that we pride malnourishment because it looks thinner, and you want to go, you know what? Nothing against supermodels. I have no personal anything against the human beings themselves. But I have never looked at a supermodel, particularly the women, and went, gosh, they're so beautiful. Ever. I mean, they might have features
Actually,
that could be beautiful, but they always look sick.
Yeah.
Always.
I feel scared, actually. I'm like, I don't want, I'm sorry. I feel like, what are you building your hormones from? Exactly. And I know that some women are like they are designed like that. That's just their body type. Like they're supposed to be like that. But again, that's not me. That's not the majority of women. Why is everyone striving to look like a teenage boy?
Right.
What the hell is wrong with that? I think that Ozempic has something to do with it, really, because there used to be talks like how you should be accepting your body and everything, and now as Ozempic comes up, and now here we go again. You are supposed to be skinny and all that again. Really, like we've been there.
We've already done this routine in the 90s, and the whole like 90s trend is like coming back to being so popular again. And I'm like, are you guys fucking stupid? I'm sorry. But in the 90s, as a girl growing up as a teenager, who I was lean, but I was a very voluptuous body shape. And I grew up in the age of wearing 00 pants. I mean, you could get smaller than a 0. Like you have to be smaller than a 0. And I remember thinking, my hip bones are never going to protrude out of my body the way these other girls, like in the magazines, and like this is the famous singers and actors, and go, how are they even like this? And then you find that most of them are usually vegan or vegetarian. Most of them are usually hooked on some sort of crazy like speed, cocaine, some kind of major drug, because why? They have no energy. They've got nothing in the tank. They're having to substitute it with something because their bodies have nothing.
Yeah, I want to compare like my body and my form. I have a picture here that I'm going to turn towards camera. So anybody who has the ability to look, please do look. And I'm going to preface this by saying this may look quote magazine-esque or ready for model. I want to say I could not run a mile. Okay. Just to be clear here. I would go out with my friends and try to play football. I could not physically move. That's how weak and malnourished that I was. So here's the picture. Let me change it so you don't see a reflection here. Look at that torso. Yeah. That is literally just nothing. Now, people might look at that and say, "Oh, well, you look good." No, that is weakness. Yeah, that is undernourishment. That is eating plants only. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that. Like in the moment, I was like, "This is awesome. I'm lean." And like you said, I mean, I have more pictures. My pants, none of my pants fit me. Those shorts right there, all my jeans, they were just falling down, just past my waist.
No acetol syndrome.
Exactly that. And I'm, I can't believe that's what and so many humans currently are aiming for that, striving for starving themselves and undernourishing themselves. And, anyway, all that aside, that piece combined with Nastia, what you were saying with your, chest area getting larger. let me just call it out, and everybody's probably going to raise their hand. Raise your hand if your sex life got better on Carnivore.
Woo!
Come on now.
I was married.
Come on now. Ain't no denying.
No.
I was like, whoa, I could do that. You know, it's not even about the action. It's about just that feeling. Come on now.
I love it, James. I love it.
Ain't no denying.
No, because go ahead, love. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's just more vitality in it. Like you just get more energy. And I remember like I had sex drive when I was a vegetarian, but it was different. And it was like it didn't feel like now it's more even, I would say. So I'm calmer. Generally, I'm calmer. But it's the way I feel my body and the way, you know, I feel the energy in my body, sexual or just overall energy is just different.
Yeah.
And it feels good to be in my body now, of course, when nothing aches almost.
Yes.
You're saying this felt different on vegetarian or vegan. There is this type of situation when person is, I'm not saying that this is necessarily related, but it's just food for thought, that when the person is in a state of survival or they are facing like a life or death situation, they start getting horny sometimes because maybe their body is telling, okay, now we have to spread our DNA, maybe we can die. You know,
Right.
but I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening when you are vegan, but you know, who knows? Maybe it's related.
So one of the big things that I find really sad and disturbing in our society, speaking of like sex drive and hormones and, you know, just the ability to rise to the occasion for people, men particularly, is that as I was a single mom for a while and kind of like going through the dating scene and starting to like hear all these discussions that people would open up to me about, that like a lot of these men in their 20s were needing assistance medically to be able to perform. And I remembered thinking, what, in your 20s? Like, why is this a thing? And so many men are infertile or impotent, unable to do anything. They feel the notions that they want to, but the body doesn't respond properly to actually be able to perform. And you go, what the hell is happening that the men in the world are becoming less functional earlier and earlier and earlier in age than they really should? I mean, men are supposed to be able to be prosperous well into their elder years.
Yeah.
And to go, now I'm talking to men that are in their early 20s and they cannot perform. And that is sad.
It is sad, and I agree. Speaking with a lot of men in my life, I have heard first person from their mouths about taking medications and pills for the activity of life. It's so true to say, but it's really just worth repeating or reemphasizing. This is the purpose of humanity.
Right.
And a male has male parts, obviously, for reproduction. If this thing cannot function appropriately, what would happen if this was in our ancestral days without medication? Quote.
Our species would have failed to exist.
Exactly. I mean, that should shout to the rooftop to everybody that something is going on. That the fact that you have to take a pill and then sit here and get on your watch and say, okay, let me wait for 30 minutes before I can go function. It's just baffling.
Very romantic, though.
Oh, yes. So sexy.
Let me put this in my calendar that we're going to do this at, 5:30 p.m. Come on now.
Yeah, it is quite quite an awareness to realize people don't, I think they don't understand that sexual health is vitality. Like, I have said that in so many, like, of my earlier posts that I used to make. Like, it's so important. And it's like, it's not a sign of, oh, this is so inappropriate. It's like, no, it's literally a sign of health. It means your hormones are functioning properly. It means your body's actually responding to what it's receiving to be able to produce. The human body only can produce fertility in an environment it feels safe. Same with women. It's like, if our bodies are in constant stress, has no nutrition to be able to support itself, guess what? It becomes infertile. I mean, it's like, this is biology. It's not like you said earlier, this isn't some sort of religion. This isn't some sort of like weird cult. This is literally biology. Follow how we work, see how our bodies function. It's pretty plain and simple when you look at it.
And a lot of people, they just don't want to accept the responsibility. Like when you talk to them, that when they talk about it, and I don't know about you guys, but in my social circle, a lot of people, those who haven't switched to ketovore or carnivore, they always talk about their health issues. Like whenever I go out with friends and meet some people, there's always talks about their gut, their, I don't know, skin, the doctors that they've visited, and etc. And I'm 28. Like, what's going on? And whenever you kind of mention that there might be something that they can do, that point switches them to the idea that there is something that they have done to come to the place where they are now, which I guess comes with guilt or shame. I don't know. And they're not ready to accept that this is me. Like, that's what happened to me. I was like, for 2 months, I watched my husband eating steaks, and I was like, no, I'm gonna have the avocado with some tofu and something else, and sweets, lots of sweets, because that's what happens to you when you don't get enough fat from your diet. Even the avocados didn't help, but and as I was saying there, sorry, just lost my train of thought. But anyway, they and I had to accept the fact that it's me who did that. Not like I was born or my parents gave me a trauma from my childhood. My mother was very strict. Or something. So I was like trying to blame my parents, blame the environment, blame anything except accepting that I was the one who did this. Like, I am responsible for the change. I can carry on popping pills and having new diagnoses every other month, or I can change, like try something new, cut the carbs and start small. I didn't know about the carnivore, thank God, because I would be really scared. Like, you should only eat meat. That was a scary idea. So I would be eating like berries, some low carb stuff. But still, it was like, it's hard, and a lot of people, they just don't want to do that. And you know what triggers me a lot is when I go to when I'm studying to become a Gestalt therapist. So my studies look like a lot of people gather in one room and we talk for 8 hours straight for 3 days and something like that. So we talk a lot. And I talk about myself, my blog, and my lifestyle. And I say that my rheumatoid arthritis is in remission. Like, I don't have arthritis at all. Nice. And it was just developing. It was just the beginning. So I wasn't under any immune suppression, which is great, because you know what, that it may lead to, like, it increases your chances of cancer too. Right. Like, because your immune system is supposed to be working. It's not supposed to be suppressed. And so a lot of people, they have children with the same diagnosis who are under immune suppression. They've got like parents and etc. And none of them change. They might ask me questions, but they just don't change it. They don't change it for their own kids. They don't change it for themselves. They just don't want to change. They just want to, like, and what kind, like, my idea is, why are they okay? And once I had a talk with my friend who has colitis, ulcerative, I don't know the word for it, but anyway, like the colitis, and she spends huge money every year on she can afford it, on some medications and stuff, and the medical manipulations. And when I told her about the carnivore diet, and I said that, well, you can actually heal your gut, and she looked at me and she said, I'm not sure if I want to heal it. Like, to me, it was a shock. Like, I'm laughing because I'm shocked. Like, she said, well, actually, it's part of my life. Like, my disease is part of my life. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's
and
like I have identified. I'm like, I have a few, disorders, as they want to call it. But I try very hard not to make that my identity. Like, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that can affect so many things. I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder as a small young person. I was like 12 when they diagnosed me. I also have sensory perception disorder. I'm on the autistic spectrum, blah, 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 right? Like, there's so many of these aspects, all of which have improved significantly since being carnivore. Some of my symptoms for other things have not gone away, but they're more manageable. So I go, okay, obviously that one kind of really is just sticking around, but that's cool. Like, but people love to put something outside of themselves as their identity. It's like they cannot just be themselves without this like crazy wild billboard to like put out in front of them to be like, this is me. And it's like, actually, no, that's not you. That's just a part of something you experience.
Speak.
Like, it's really interesting. I started looking at that a long time ago when people would do that about their jobs. Like, oh, I'm not going to pick on you, Stephen, but like, I'm a firefighter. And it's like their whole existence is nothing but that. You're not like that, Stephen. I'm just saying, if you're watching, love you. But, like they put their identity as what it is that they do or what it is that they have. And it's like, that's not you. That's not you. That's just something you experience.
Yeah. And then losing it feels like death.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna die. That's what I experienced. Like, I thought, okay, I care about the environment, which stands for the innate feeling of guilt for something else. It was nothing to do with the environment. I just felt like I didn't deserve to live. That was something deeper. And so and changing that was dangerous for me because I didn't know that it's not me. I thought that this idea of me that I have is me, which is not true. I still exist. My life is completely different. So you guys, if there's a lot of people who actually watch this kind of programs and like follow different carnivore bloggers, but they don't try. They don't change. They just like kind of researching. So if you're one of them, just try. You're not gonna die. Like you are going to transform, but you are still gonna be you. Like the sensation that the sensation of I am is not going to go anywhere. You're gonna be in a different body, in a different environment, but you are still gonna be you, and that's not death.
Absolutely, absolutely. The misconception that we are our bodies, even, and it's like, well, no, what are we? Because there is something else that gives us thought. There is this existential existence, whatever you want to call that, whatever you believe in. Yeah, all those labels that people have around, like, whether it's your soul, your spirit, the universe, the one, blah blah blah, all those things. That still exists above and beyond whatever the physicality that we have is. And that's a hard one for people to step through. But gosh, you know what I find so amazing is more people that live closer to an animal-based carnivore lifestyle, they find it so much easier to be aware of that, to be connected to that.
Yeah. There is much less noise, and so it attributes to the noise, like the food noise or the hormonal noise or just the mental fog is not there. It's actually very very great, Nastia, that you started talking about it, because it was actually one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because I know, well, first of all, I need to say hi from my wife. She says hello, and she was actually the one who found your channel. I believe it was YouTube, and we watched like some of your videos on YouTube, and it was like very fresh because a lot of people from abroad, but the first one that we see in the Russian space, which was cool. And I remember in some of your videos you mentioned that you were studying, or maybe you are studying psychology at the moment. You now said you are still studying. Right. And this is very important. And I also liked the video when you talked to a client of yours, a girl, and you were discussing, the whole thing was about how she felt when she wanted to cheat on her meal, or she wanted to like have an orange or something like this. And I'm also coaching people. I'm started from the summer, so it's very well, my coaching career is very fresh, but I have experience with navigating people through carnivore and troubleshooting, and I have clients, and a lot of it is about how they feel around food, how they feel around just their own problems, because usually people who come to carnivore, they have some problems that would want to fix, and it affects their lives and it affects their personality, and all of these things are entangled, and you start with good intentions, with motivation, but then you have all these questions and doubts in your mind, and you are basically you need support going through this transition, because as you said, first of all, it's like sort of diluting your ego into something different. And then it's also understanding that separation of your addiction signals from your real self and from what really gives you value. And a lot of people, they, as we talked before, like the food discussion is not very common in most of our cultures. And people need to sometimes they need a little help around separating the addiction from their real signals, like from what they really want and value.
Yeah, there's so I'm working as a gestalt therapist, like I'm studying and I'm working with women and men. I help them. It's not, they come and say, well, I always I often eat something sweet. I don't know what to do about that. And then you start working, and it's not about food. It's never about food. It's always about something else. It's something about work, some relationship, something about that. And the food is just the tip of the iceberg. And it just, a lot of people, they just don't, a lot of people are just lonely, to be honest. Like, that's what I'm observing. And food is just, it's just comfort. It's what they're used to. They are used to entertaining themselves through food. And it's a huge, that carnivore diet can really help you with that, because you start valuing really like nutritious foods rather than something tasty, something that makes you feel it's very tasty, I'm gonna eat that. Yum. And then you start generating all these different ideas. And I know that it's hard for someone to get rid of this habits just like that. You need to have something to rely on, like something, maybe some cheat meals sometimes. Just as long as it keeps you going. But yeah, it's never about food. It's and it's a huge thing, because food is like, I don't like it when people say it's just food, just eat it. Are you crazy? It's everything. Like, we literally depend on food. Like, you cannot be independent.
You cannot separate yourself from it. Yeah, it's a big coping mechanism because food is very emotional, and food gives us well, it affects the pleasure centers, and people just basically high like dopamine stimulating foods like
Yeah.
carbohydrates, they especially sweet ones. I now going through this experience, and I'm in carnivore since 2020, not like not completely from the beginning to end. I've been on and off, but I've been experiencing this and thinking about it for a very long time. And now I personally see these types of food as basically recreational drugs. It's just people are addicted to them, but they are so normalized that they just see it as they just subconsciously go towards them to have to get some psychological emotional relief, which is like a negative feedback loop. It just reinforces the further addiction, and you got to break out of it. And the one thing is, yes, to establish the right relationship with your food. It's something that is a base of your well-being. It's something that all of your body cells and hormones and everything in your body comes from your food. Of course, there are other aspects. There is our environment, there is how we sleep, there is our personal situation, but the food, we all know how much it affects. And yeah, you gotta switch the paradigm, and you gotta understand that, yeah, everyone knows this, like you don't live to eat, you eat to live, right?
Yeah.
And people should really take it home. I think
Yeah.
everybody would benefit from that.
Our bodies are made of cells at foundation. You mentioned this earlier, Dennis. Okay. Now, each cell is made up of fats, amino acids, fats, and cholesterol. And of course, some glucose that's naturally made in the body. So we don't need to be eating sugar foods, long chain polysaccharides in the form of carbs at all. As we know, it's non-essential foods. It's entertainment, strictly entertainment. And once we can get over that psychological hump, then we begin to thrive because we're getting out all this trash food. I'll do a quick comparison, which is pretty plain, but cut out. Imagine the supplementation industry didn't exist. Okay. So eat just bread every day. No human would last at all. This is not even an argument. Clearly, this human would falter and suffer to the end, or be clamoring for a steak in about 2-3 months.
Yeah, I have a story for that, actually.
Wow, interested.
Well, it's an old story. Can I interject really quick? Like, I'll make it short. So during the potato famine for Ireland that happened many years ago, there was a gentleman, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of this story, but there was a gentleman who was growing potatoes, and that was the only thing that he could sustain on. And out of awareness for his family, he would eat the skin off the potatoes because it was the least desired portion, right? And he would feed his wife and his children the main meat part of the potato. Needless to say, all of his family died except for him. And it's because the skin held the most available vitamins that were possible, but the meat of the potato, which is very similar to just bread, as you're describing, held nothing of value. So his family died, even though he thought he was doing the right thing by sacrificing himself. And it just kind of like goes to show in that same instance, we have to have some sort of nutrients.
That's a great story, real world story. And I wanted to also reflect on, Nastia, you mentioned a word, and I want to use this word here, which is remission. That is in my opinion, a very toxic word. And I'm not saying you said it incorrectly, Nastia. It's a very toxic, excuse-driven, committal word, not taking any sort of control of our lives. And now I want to explain that. And I want to emphasize, Nastia, I'm not claiming that you don't have control of your life. Clearly you do. You've taken reins of your life and health. But in the medical industry, we get diagnosed. And then if we find healing, it's the word remission, as in, well, we want to keep ourselves accountable in the medical profession by saying it's remission. So if it comes back, we never said you were cured. But the truth is, you're cured. The truth is, you're healed. And so remission is just a word that I no longer use. I don't believe in that. It is healing. It is health. It is cure. It is the cancer. Selena, is your cancer gone? I don't know. I'm for many carnivores, I won't answer for you. Please chime in. Is the cancer gone? Yes. Well, you're not in remission. You are healed. Is my diabetes gone? Yes. I'm not in remission. I am healed. These are the things I don't use that word remission anymore, because that's like chains. Use the word slavery, Nastia. We don't want to be slaves to our lives. We're not just in remission and it might come back.
It's so funny you say that, because I never use that word. I never say that my cancer's in remission, because I think I very much believe in, like, the concept of, manifestation and alignment with frequency, and what you think you believe it, so it is, right? And so I've never used the word remission when I've spoken about healing my cancer, because to me that leaves an open energy that it's welcome to come back, and it's not welcome. It's not welcome in my house. So I'm with you.
You're talking today, Selena. Golly.
Well,
Yeah, it almost like this word, it undermines your achievement in your health.
yeah.
It's like, well, you didn't cure yourself. You kind of, temporarily got a relief, so no medal for you for that.
Right.
And fuck that.
Well,
We are healed.
Well, actually,
exactly.
I kind of accept that. I mean, I know that my arthritis is still there. I sometimes feel it when I eat something that I'm not supposed to eat, with it's something that triggers it. So I know it's there, and I know that there's no way. But I kind of like it. I'm actually one of the lucky ones, because I didn't get, like, it wasn't full-blown arthritis. It wasn't that bad at the beginning, but it was developing. So when I changed the diet, now I am more receptive to different plants, to dairy and all kind of stuff, pork, and that is good, because I have no intention of going back. Like, I know what awaits me if I take that route. Like, I'm not gonna do that, and it's good. So I'm kind of happy. So I consider myself lucky. And I like that I have issues, just because they stop me from taking the wrong direction. And I know that my body signals, even like if I don't know, like I used to, like, in Russia, it's popular to microdose this little mushrooms, amanitas. I'm not sure if they're legal in the US.
Amanita muscaria.
Yeah. But they just grow in the woods. So they are kind of legal. But so they're not psychoactive, but they kind of stimulate your brain in a way that you become more focused and all that. Right. So at the beginning I tried, and it helped me, especially when I was super nervous about something, like when I got this, anxiety, and I needed to focus on something. And then at some point I tried like a very tiny little dose. It's not even a micro dose, it's like a nano dose. And I got my immune system had I got pain. Well, it's not kind of pain. It's hard to say that it's a pain. It's more like my joints got swollen, and it's like they're burning. It's not really pain. And I had high temperature, and I was feeling bad, and I didn't know what was going on. That's just because of the tiny little mushroom, like tiny. It's just tiny. And I was like, before that, I took it, and I would drink coffee, no problem. I would drink teas and all that kind of stuff. Now I can't anymore, and it's good. Again, I think it's good because my body just says you shouldn't be doing that. Even if I can, like, sometimes I eat berries, I said that, but I don't believe that berries are good for me. I still believe that there's a little bit of a damage that they do. I just don't feel it. So I accept that for like once a year when I go to a certain area where there's like this berries on the ground and they're like real. But I still know that it's bad for me. I know it.
Right.
Well, Nastia, I love what you're saying. I want to just counter it in a sense, in all respect, by saying or asking the question, what is the difference between symptoms versus the diagnosis? I really don't think there is one. One is coming from a professional, a medical professional, who's just putting a word to what are symptoms. So I'm all saying this, double down on what I'm saying as far as remission goes, and as far as your arthritis, or even mine, because I had knee surgeries that I didn't really need to have. Now I know, because of proper nutrition, I had calcification in my joints. But someone's going to say, oh, I'm going to diagnose you with, calcified knees. We're going to have to clean that knee out. Or I can say I have symptoms and I should probably eat better. So the arthritis, the arthritic part as well, is like same thing. When I eat sausage, I get arthritis in my joints the very next day. And that's a symptom, but I don't need to go to the doctor and say, hey, tell me I'm diagnosed with arthritis. So I'm not in remission. And remission, in a sense, is coming from a medical professional and their diagnosis for the sake of business.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do. I get what you're saying. I get what she's saying as well. Like I hear the equal balance. It just depends on the perspective in which you're what side of the beach ball you're looking at. Basically, like everybody sees the color of the beach ball from a different perspective. If you're all got your hands on it, some might have the red, the white, the blue, the green, the yellow. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying as far as like we are not the diagnosis. The diagnosis is given to us because of paperwork. And whether we're experiencing the symptoms of these items that we're told we'll have is purely based off of whether or not we're delivering our body what it's appropriately needed, or if we're introducing toxins that cause these symptoms to be prevalent.
Yeah, great way to put it. And just to emphasize and double down, Nastia, I love everything you're saying. Let me just be clear. I love your energy, by the way. I mean, I can't wait to. I already looked at your content. Let me be clear. I can't understand it, but I love the energy that you talked about, because most of it I was in Russian. But I was like, man, this energy, it's great.
Yeah, she is lovely. I'm going to have to bring us down to a close. I want to say absolutely so lovely to meet you. You are just, so cool. I wish I understood Russian so I could appreciate it more. But I would love to have you on again, as I think so many of us in the space who are watching and in our membership group would love to just, touch base again, maybe here in a couple months, and get some fresh eyes on how things are going and any new perspectives you've got at the time. But I want to say thank you both also for joining. I'm so grateful. Love you guys. We're going to go ahead and bring her down. So for everybody that's watching, until next time.
Yeah.